When it comes to supporting gut health, your dietary choices are an obvious place to start. But you don't want to forget 3 other important factors: exercise, sleep, and stress management. In today's fast-paced society, it's easy to put these off because you're feeling overwhelmed and like you don't have enough time. But that's exactly when you need these habits the most. A prudent diet is foundational to supporting your gut health, but the rest of your lifestyle matters too. Exercise, sleep, and stress can have a significant impact on your gut microbiome and your overall health. Let's start with exercise. We covered the gut-muscle axis in an earlier episode, but a growing body of research has been exploring how the microbiome could play a role in the immune and mental health-related benefits of regular exercise. It's a potent ingredient in the formula for a healthy gut, mind, and body. First, exercise has been shown to enhance immune function by increasing